Let me show you my countryside through these old headlights. We can take this road as far as you want to go. I'll show you how a country mile can take us all night. Feeling higher than a bull's tail up an old dirt road. I ain't gonna run or hide. We can let the fire burn wild. That's just my countryside.
Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to our channel. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Here we are at our pasture fence here, and I wanted to talk about the types of fences that we use here on our farm. This is something that is very important to make sure that number one, you keep your chickens safe, and number two, you keep your garden safe, as well as other areas around your property. So as most of you know, we do use free ranging as one of the aspects on how we raise our chickens. We believe that it's important for the types of feed that they're gonna get. They're gonna be able to access grit without us buying it. They're gonna be getting higher protein with the bugs that they're eating. They do fertilize different areas of your farm that you're allowing them to free range in. So fencing is definitely important. We do let them free range, and for the most part they keep out of things, especially when we have areas like the garden blocked off. So when we built our pasture fence, and this is relatively new to us, we actually installed this. It's about 2.5 acres of fencing in here for our pasture. We are prepping it. If you are new here, we are prepping to get some sort of hoofed animal in the spring, whether it be sheep or cows. We're really not quite sure still yet. We want to make sure that we have what's necessary in here as far as forage and grass, because we bought raw land, and so this is newly converted into pasture for us. So we want to make sure that whatever we get, that our property is suited for that, especially given the times that we're in. We really don't want to be having to go out and buying or sourcing hay or feed to be able to nourish that animal and have it be healthy. So we did buy just recently, the last few days, some seed from a company called Nature Seed, not affiliated, just really like the way that they have things laid out as far as specific types of seed for different types of animals. So you can look based off of landscape, you can look based off of pasture, different types of goals that you have, you can search for that specifically. So as you can see here, this is the woven wire fence, and we chose the woven wire fence. Number one, is it exactly predator proof? Not necessarily. It's going to be more of a deterrent for animals. Can they still dig underneath of it? Absolutely. But it does serve as a barrier to keep things in. And for the most part, we've never had any issues so far since it's been built of anything trying to dig underneath. So whatever you're trying to keep in, this will be effective, especially for chickens, which is our situation right now. Now, granted, some of you probably have some horror stories of cows busting through the fence, or whatever your situation may be. You're obviously going to need some electric line going across the top if you have bigger animals in here. We're not at that point yet though. So right now it's serving great for our chickens. This is one type of fencing that we use, and then you might be able to see out there in the pasture where the brooders and the chickshaw is. We have electric netting that we use, and we got that from Premier One. Again, not sponsored. I'm really not that well known yet. We're working on it. But we do use that one, and we have had great results with it. We did go ahead and get the 164-foot fence, I believe it is, and that is a lot better to be able to move it at the rate that we move these guys. So we move them about every 2 weeks. We keep them on a spot for a little bit longer than most, probably, within the rotational grazing community, just because our land is raw and we are really trying to work on fertilizing the land. So that is going to create better grasses. That's going to get a lot of the grasses to pop up in some of these blank areas where it's still dirt. So we have not had any issues besides it being hard to get in the ground or out of the ground because things are so dry. And we noticed that as the grass is growing in these areas, it's getting a lot easier to be able to install it or remove it. So we did again get that 164-foot electric netting out there, and it has one prong. It's super light. It's lighter than the 100-foot rolls that we had gotten and that we're using around other areas of our farm here. So if you're looking for fencing to put into some rocky areas, some areas that are more dry and clay, I would think of Arizona because I'm from there originally, but here in North Carolina, it's very rocky and clay as well. And so that 164-foot fence is perfect, especially with the amount of chickens that we have out there. Okay, so the other type of fence that we use here on our property is the Premier One electric netting that I just discussed from out in the pasture. And so we have the woven wire, and then we have this style here. This is kind of a closer up of it. So these fencing, this fencing is great for using for multiple uses around your farm. So as things kind of evolve, the seasons change, some of the needs around our farm change with those seasons. And so it really is great that we're able to have this fence. We have probably 5 rolls of this 100-foot fencing, and so we're able to kind of adjust. We can put it around our potato patch, or we can put it around our entire garden here. We actually had it that way during the active growing months. Granted, it's now September here. It's starting to cool off. We're kind of letting the chickens in the garden a little bit to kind of get some of that, the fruit that were just kind of tomatoed out or cucumbered out. So we just let them kind of have access to it. And as they are going through the garden, they're actually laying down their fertilizer. And so it helps us in the springtime when we're ready to plant. And so you do want to make sure that you have a few months of not actively growing because their poop is hot. So anyways, we use this type of fencing. We just did this new move where we kind of encompassed a larger area. We used 2 rolls of fence, so 200 feet all the way around. We did have it at 100 feet, and you can see where the brown dirt is here. That's the 100-foot that we had it at. But we did go ahead and expand it out so that they had some green grass to go, to go on. So to us, making sure that they have access to that green grass, I mean, it's just probably a serotonin boost or whatever. It makes me feel better. So anyways, we will go through and do some wood, kind of like you see on the border of the garden here, around here, but we're gonna have to do it in sections because we're kind of on sloped land. But here nor there, the electric netting is amazing. You can use it for different parts of your farm in different areas. It is smaller towards the bottom, those little holes, than at the top. The only issue is that we do have some little chicks that will hatch and they're ready to go outside at about 6 to 8 weeks. And so they can get through those little bottom holes if it's not electrified. If you have it electrified, most times it'll work. But we found that sometimes it'll, with that pulse, within that second, they'll be in there and kind of foraging around. So the hens and the rooster that we have in there, Luke, he tends to leave them alone. They do too. They really don't mind it. I think they're kind of used to having chicks around. But that is one thing that if you have little babies, they can get through that. So if you let mama, right now we have a brooding mom inside the coop, they can get through that. And so you have to kind of keep that in mind. Also, there's no covering over this type of fence. And so we did do a sun sail here to offer some shade in there. But as far as hawks and stuff like that, definitely still have to keep an eye because they're not in an enclosed run with a roof. So anyways, that's the only thing with using this type of fencing to create a run for your chickens. But overall, we've been really happy with this Premier One fence, and we're really happy with the style of fencing that we went with out in the pasture. So those are the 2 types of fences that we use as a barrier for our chickens here on our farm. So we hope that this was helpful for you. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, and we'd be happy to answer those. But we will see you on the next video. See you later.